of July and they were handing out things left and right during the
This is
parade.
way
It's
too
like, this
convenient.
is,
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but this one might be.
walks like a duck and quacks
Right.
like a duck. July.
No, now we're live. What does the city use for internet, do you know? Multiple things, I would assume, or just one?
Yeah, we're on some like ICN network and then we have MediaCom as a backup, I think.
Gotcha.
Outside. Canceled me. Got a Starlink,
Oh, yeah.
which
Oh,
they were selling them, they went on sale. It was like super nice. It comes in packaging's gorgeous and it's awesome. I set it up and like, once you get, it's pretty intuitive, but then you have to aim it just right. And it's mine is anywhere between 3% and 5% not right. And so, but then when I go out and like, you gotta loosen a couple of Allen screws. And stuff,
Yeah.
and like, you move it like this much and it's like 30% off.
Oh,
It's like, so
pretty
I'm
finicky.
out there like screwing around with it. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna accept 3% off. That's a win.
Does that work pretty well, though?
It's all right. It's with a small number of devices, it's good. But like when all the kids are there,
Mhm.
TVs are all smart devices, but it goes pretty fast. Like it. But yeah.
Anybody in here happen to have Howard's cell number?
Do not.
He said he was gonna be logging in on the Zoom. I just wanna make sure he has the super secure password.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What? Say that loud.
It's in the,
bring that.
it's in the,
It's on the meeting
it
agenda.
is on the meeting agenda.
This is not really-
Super secret password. The password is.
You know your water problems solved, don't you?
Just humiliating experiences in my life.
Why?
Paying me $200 to come in and shower. Just because I couldn't, just because I didn't know which way a gasket went. Hey. Awesome.
I tried redoing my good car window problem one time. I ripped the whole door off and all that and tried to figure it out with the pulleys and got it all ripped apart. I'm like, yep, it's beyond me. Drove it in and they're like, what's wrong? And I opened the door and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm pretty sure I wasn't the first person that's done that. I'm pretty sure you weren't either.
So,
Is anybody on this email yet?
There's Howard. You got him.
Good evening.
Hi, Howard. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll go tech wise. Commissioners all ready?
Yep.
I will now call to order the August 12th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. The time is 5:45 PM. Hillary, would you call the roll, please?
Eaton,
Present.
Caldwell,
Here.
Thompson. Here. Steiger. Samuelson.
Here.
Forrest.
Here.
Reagan.
Here. Item number 3 is the approval of tonight's agenda. Any changes to the agenda for this evening? Hearing nothing, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda along with the second.
Thompson motion.
Force a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 4 is the approval of the June 24th, 2024 minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Any changes to the June 24th minutes? Hearing nothing, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Item number 5, I'd like to welcome the guests who've joined us here in person at our meeting, along with anyone who's on the Zoom. Are there any members of the public who would like to make a comment on an item that is not on tonight's agenda? Hearing nothing, I'll move into our first substantive item, which is a public hearing and recommendation on a zoning amendment to change 1326 Sunset Drive from C2 Community Commercial to infill planned unit development with C2 uses. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 5:47 PM. Elliot, would you brief us on this item, please?
Yep, so real quick refresher on what an infill planned unit development is. A planned unit development is basically custom written zoning for a given piece of property. It can take just about any shape, almost any size. The reason that we have an infill planned unit development is because we're specifically targeting individual lots, usually just one or two, sometimes a couple more. But under 5 acres in area, we have to go with an infill planned unit development, just because of the way our code is written. So what we're doing here is seeking to address some of the development related challenges of the site, business continuity, etc. There's some spatial issues with redeveloping the site that we're using this tool to hopefully accomplish. So from a use perspective, you can largely expect everything here to remain the same. We're not changing the allowed uses on the property, simply addressing some building spacing concerns. So that's the primary summary. So the way that an infill plan unit development works is we pretty much write out the entire set of zoning that would govern a site from a use perspective. Typically, when we evaluate whether or not a use is suitable for a site, a lot of times we can just look at C2 and then just know that it falls under a certain section of the zoning code when looking at landscaping, architectural requirements, buffers, these sorts of things. In an infill plan unit development, we spell all that out. Sometimes the ordinances themselves will reference the zoning code instead of saying you need to have X number of trees, you need to have a buffer of, a certain material width or size. So that's basically what this document lays out. I used the draft infill PUD for the property north of this as a template. So a lot of the language is going to be the same. I figured since they were next to each other, that made a lot of sense. And really the main thing that we were trying to address with this IPUD was the spatial constraints on the site as it relates to business continuity. So the applicant would like to continue operating out of the existing building while the other one is constructed. The way the site lays out, at some point, that new building is only going to be about 3 feet away from the new one. Our zoning code doesn't allow for that situation to exist by nature. So by doing an infill PUD, we can give specific permission to allow that. And that's the reason that we're doing this rezoning. Again, the uses are going to stay the same. We have a draft of what the site layout is going to look like. Just to be clear, this is a zoning amendment. This is not a site plan approval. So a site plan will follow this at a future meeting. Applicants are just wanting to get this step done first because it takes 3 readings at city council. But yeah, this is what you can largely expect to see when this item comes back as a site plan. So in this illustration, this is what the final product is going to look like when it's all said and done. I think, is there any quick way on this? Okay, so this is how the site lays out right now. And the way that the new building would sit on the site, it would only be about 3 feet away from this one. So once that new building is fully constructed, the existing structure will come down. Certificate of occupancy will switch at that point. Business can be operated out of the new building. And then this one will go away. They're also planning on redoing the parking area a little bit and adding to the site with some landscaping. So that's the general summary. I'm happy to answer any questions about, again, the zoning element of this. Some of the site plan things are unknowns at this very second. But the folks over at Cooper Crawford have this in place as a stopgap. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Elliot. Would the applicant like to make any comment on item number 6?
What is item number 6?
Oh, the 1326 Sunset Drive.
You're just wanting to know about, do I stand?
Yeah, if you'd like to make a comment, you'll need to come up to the microphone and we'll just need your name and your address.
Sorry. Christine McVicker.
Get up, you don't have to.
Oh, I don't have to do that?
That's okay.
I do the Bible study reading at Hope sometimes, so. So yeah, I'm the Chris and Mark Chris Modern Homes. Was asked about the project and we hand draw the plans. It's got a little cat cafe in it. And we're just calling it that. So people can bring their cats and dogs in and do laptop work or what have you. But I guess I've never had to attend one of these meetings because I worked on buildings that we weren't tearing down or changing planning and zoning. So do you have any, I do think that it'll be a really gorgeous addition. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm just gonna be me. I grew up on a farm in Pleasantville, Iowa. Grandmother designers, and I hand draw, like I said, and my guys are great. They've worked hard to be a part of our team. And Jill Thorpe has been with me 10 years. We've tore down a lot of homes and worked in some pretty tight places. He's amazingly talented. His people are great. So when it comes to the intricacy of taking down the existing building, once we've moved her into the new, and again, we're gonna build a 96 by 30 structure with your permission, 35-foot setback. And get her moved in that, tear down the existing, and then add the 40 by 28, I call it shoebox. Again, everybody that's a part of our team they're quite impressive, actually. And very conscientious of taking good care of the neighbors. As a matter of fact, I went over and talked to the salon gals. I talked to Debbie right behind. She's really excited about it because we're picking up all of her tree mess that just happened at no charge to her. And sadly, we have to take down some of the trees. I'm bummed about that, but I guess it will eliminate some of the water problems. I guess my Joel Thorpe said that some of this water that's being retained back there is being held because of the tree roots.
Yep.
So sadly, when those come down and then putting in a retention pond and tying into the sewer at, the corners that we can to eliminate, water problems, why everybody else's water problems are going to go away.
That's so.
We'll be taking on the brunt of that. But everybody's, like I said, I went to all the neighbors and so far I think I only have 2 left and I don't even know if they live there. Looks kind of sad. So yeah, I think, oh, I know what I wanted to say. I don't know who I can say this to, but I'm obviously a female, but I'm really into creating and I'm very curious and I've remodeled over 200 projects and built over 80 houses. And I'm, again, nothing without these guys, but I work with a Mark Parley. I don't know if anybody's heard of him, but he assists with attorneys to sue subcontractors nationally. So I've learned a lot. And I would just love to see you guys stay open-minded to the fact that stone is probably one of the worst things to adhere to any building. They're getting just landslides of lawsuits. So I was really sad to see that you guys are requiring 75% of that, even with the window. I built a home for Todd Lance, a partner with Weinhardt Law Firm, in 2019. He said, don't you dare think of putting one piece of stone on my house. And I just think somebody needs to come in and help educate what's going on out there. Because I've been doing this long enough, because Mark Chris, I incorporated it July of 2011. And I think if I sat and talked to you guys, I could talk to you for hours about the difficulty. I mean, there's been slime balls, liars, deceitful people building. They're everywhere. And Mark Parley, myself, people who really, really, really care. I'm not a corner cutter. I've never been. But I just think you guys don't know, because I've worked with the city of Des Moines. I love those guys. I love them. We need you guys. We need all of you. We need everybody to make our communities better. I just built a $450,000 pool house on the south side. You guys, that's the money they had. And I had to work with the city of Des Moines on that. We had no errors. I had to tear a home down at 3848 River Oaks Drive during COVID, got hit with 90,000 lumber increase. I could go on and on and on. The intensity of caring and wanting to do things right. But I would ask you to please reconsider making anybody add stone. Massive lawsuits, multi-million dollar problems in stone. And they think they're installing it right. And they're not. So that's the stone comment I have.
So on material types, just for this meeting, and for your, I guess, now for next meeting, this group kind of deals with gets handed down to them from council and stuff, so.
You guys just don't know.
Well, what I'm telling you is you'd be, the process would be to talk with our council
Yeah.
kind of at the 3-minute public comment period at the beginning of our next meeting, when you're gonna have this already on the agenda.
Yeah.
And ask them to consider taking a look at that,
Yeah,
and then they would
Elliot,
direct
do you
us and
mind
staff
sending me
and a
email?
planning commission to go ahead and do that, so.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Oh,
I just-
Elliot, would you let me know
don't know the
when they're gonna
process.
have that? And guys, I'm coming from the best place. You all know the hardships of what you do on your end. But I don't feel like anyone's coming in and kind of sharing facts on what we're being asked to do that you should not be doing. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like Luke mentioned, it's just not
Yeah.
something that us as a commission. because-
But I still think it's a good place to start. Just saying it to all of you
Yep.
in this meeting, just as a, oh, wow. If I could help with that, yeah.
Is stone installed correctly? Okay.
Here's what I did on my new home. Because of everything I've learned. What's your, George?
As a turn that to the head council.
Oh, hi. Anyway. I got into this, again, I've been remodeling my entire life. I'll tell you one little cool story, because it's fun. My uncle hand-built racing boats in California. His whole life, he lived out there, and he built one for Clint Eastwood. I'm just telling you that my true desire and why I do what I do is to draw cool things, lot specific, and build them with the best of the materials and have it look the best and have the client spend less than try to like save them as much as I can, get the best people. So I'm out there doing that. And back to your question. I put a tiny bit of stone on the end of my new garages where I've got a 30-inch overhang. It's way out in the front of the house, and Mark Parley stopped the other day just because he wants to be a big brother to me. I actually lost my brother Mark in a car wreck in Norwalk years ago. And he was mad, and he goes, they didn't bring that George 9. Here's our sad world. 9 out of 10 subs are terrible. 2013, everything just went. Now we're out there making sure people do the right thing. Some of them, and listen, most of my people are like unbelievable. I had to get rid of another guy the other day who did subpar work and was mad and wanted paid for his subpar work. It's been quite a battle to be in. You know this. I'm sure you guys got crazy stories. It's been, but I just want you to know it will run so smoothly. She's lovely. I even helped the neighbor and her make up. They've been in a battle. Neighbors are nice. I put your sign up. I was like, I didn't find out till Thursday night. I got the P&Z sign out there. It was hard. I was laughing. My carpenter was like, oh my God, why didn't you tell it sooner? It's fine. You're busy. We got it out there. But I don't know what I'm doing up here other than to share with you the joy that this facility will bring. I gotta watch her do surgery, a root canal on a dog. It's a special person. Anyway, does anybody have any? Try not to use any stone, George. Everybody in here, don't.
I got stone in my house. Now you make me nervous.
And massive lawsuits with
But I didn't-
stucco right
it's
now.
good.
They applied it wrong. They applied it to Hardy and LP, and it's massive lawsuits, massive. Everything has to be done. And we all know this, time evolves. During COVID, people started designing some amazing things, so things are getting better. But you also have to put demands in. I wish we focused more on people who do subpar work. You know what I mean? But we all have to work together to see this through, and I wish there were more siding on it, so it would look more modern farmhouse instead of a cottage covered in stone. That we shouldn't be using, George.
Hardy plank's fine though, right?
You know what? It is now. It wasn't.
Oh,
It's now. Now I'm kind of mad at LP siding, so I'm gonna be using Hardy on hers. Mhm.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Sorry I talked too long.
That's okay. Any
Hopefully it helps.
questions for the applicant, from the commission? And I don't think we have any other members of the public who wanted to comment on this item. Any other questions from the commission for the applicant or for Elliot or staff before we close the public hearing?
Do we get any public comment on this from anybody?
No.
Okay.
I did receive some questions about why they got a letter in the mail.
Gotcha.
They did.
No follow-up.
but no comment.
Anything else from the commission? We'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:05 PM. And now we can deliberate on this item.
I think it'd be a nice renovation to kind of continue to upgrade the businesses along Sunset. Similar to what the beauty salon next door.
I think it's a creative solution to a business interruption problem, and I think it makes sense to handle it with the infill PUD, like you've suggested here, to keep her open while they're doing all this good renovation.
It'll be nice. We'll fill in the sidewalk problem in that corner.
That's true. Yep.
And so in terms of continuity, the business continuity part that you mentioned earlier, so not approving this, there's going to be more of a disruption to the business. Presumably.
So right now, they're not allowed to have two buildings on the site. Not allowing them to have two buildings.
Yeah, so they're gonna have.
Shut down business,
Yeah.
demo, build, and city doesn't want to do that if they can, provide a tool like this to keep moving.
Yeah.
And then it'll come before us again.
Yeah, site plan, yeah.
This,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, that this is pretty limited to the zoning piece. Any other deliberation from the commission?
I have one question just for clarity. Maybe it's because of my ignorance, but once the project is completed, does the IPUD stay in place or does it revert back to current status?
It will technically stay in place. It's just that the thing that we were talking about with the building separation and having multiple structures on the lot won't really be applicable because there will only be one building, but this document will stay in effect.
But one could, since it's gonna stay in effect at some point, add a separate structure and still be in compliance.
I think I put something in the document about the intent to demolish. I can go back and check the exact language in here to make sure that we're not creating a condition where there are permanent double principal structures. But yeah, it's a good catch, Howard. I'll make sure that I have the language in here related to that matter.
If there's nothing else from the commission, it sounds like we're all in favor. I would entertain a motion to approve the change at 1326 Sunset Drive to the infill planned unit development with C2 uses.
Can we add, like Howard said, about making sure they're this, like whatever the language is, that
Sure.
it is for sure in there?
Yeah,
Yes.
subject to that addition.
And that's language you get tweaks before it goes to council. Yes. Yeah. I would motion to approve with the stipulation that any, two building overlap be temporary and only for this time frame, or how you want to state that. That's one use.
I will second with AJ.
Hillary, would you call the roll, please?
Samuelson,
Yes.
Forrest,
Yes.
Eaton,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Reagan.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your comments. Item number 7 is our city council update. George, any update for us? I know it's been a while. We were talking about it's been a while.
Yeah, well, really, no, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know we don't have Holly here, but Chris, any update for us tonight on economic development side?
Yeah, Holly gave some things to mention to the commission. We have a new ED position that we're posting. It's a part-time position for an ED tech. So we're looking to fill, hopefully that can eventually, once budget gets better, we can go full-time with that. There's gonna be someone who's gonna do a lot of the, not really administrative work for the ED department, but a lot of the stuff that kind of time consuming for us and the staff and reports and, managing the data files and all that stuff. That person's gonna do that role for us on a part-time basis. So we've got that, we've posted. Next Wednesday, the 20th at 4, we're gonna do a groundbreaking event for the Dunn Industrial Park. That's just south of Michael Foods. A lot of activity down there, so there's gonna be a groundbreaking for those businesses down there. For the specifically for the Dunn or the shop condos down there. Tomorrow, Holly and council members are gonna meet with the ambassador of Ukraine. She's gonna have more information on more details of that meeting later date after the meeting. What else we got? Southwest Development Corridor Project, the annexation, that's going very well. I have information out of that, but we're about out of what, phase 1, I guess they would call it.
Yep, so you probably might have seen on some Facebook posts and stuff, people talking about annexation to the south and west. We have been engaged all summer with property owners about establishing a corridor that will help protect our sewer investment that we're making. The first phase of sanitary sewer along North River is about a $7 million project for about 1.5 miles of sewer, 72-inch tall pipe. So we can go stand in it if you want to go do that. So a big piece of infrastructure, big investment that eventually serves about 30,000 acres of development along North River and Badger Creek up into Madison County. And so since we're making that investment right now and no one else is participating with it, we want to make sure that the ground that serves it, that's directly related to it and adjacent to Norwalk, will be Norwalk at some point. And so we've established a corridor of all ag ground with no houses. That was important to the city to make sure we weren't bringing in any new houses that take us from the existing kind of Dunn industrial area west to Interstate 35 at Fillmore. So remember our comprehensive plan talked about growth in that area. We're not annexing the whole big thing, but we've just got an ag corridor that goes out there and kind of puts a line in the sand, if you will, for Norwalk that, hey, all this stuff that's here, that's gonna be along this road corridor that's gonna flow into this North River interceptor, that's gonna be future Norwalk growth at some point. So it's pretty exciting, a big step in advancing our goals of the community and the things that we want to do with industrial and commercial growth, and providing a second kind of major thoroughfare out of the community. All those things are next steps in all that. So I believe we're at 93% signed signatures right now, a little over 2,300 acres of voluntary annexation currently.
And so when I started a couple years ago, we talked about, we've got this plan to move southwest. And there's always talk it was gonna take a couple decades to maybe get to there. Well, we have a Project West, that's looking at about 300 acres down there. That's where we kick this whole thing off. And so that project is moving forward very nicely. Like I said, about 300 acres are gonna purchase down there for this. And by the end, they should have about, what'd you say, the facility is about 1 million square feet. So it's a really big project. They really got this whole southwest annexation moving, accelerating at kind of light speed. And we hope to announce the groundbreaking for Hilton True sometime later this week. That's going to coincide with the grand opening of the field house, the official grand opening. We've got a soft grand opening going on now. We're going to get signage on the field house for sponsors and the name and all that. Once that's done, then we'll have the official grand opening for the field house, and then we'll do the Hilton true groundbreaking at the same time. And then the Great Young project to the north of the dealership. That's about a 17-acre project. It's got 3 different sites on there. And we're gonna have varied use there. Retail, hotel, hospital, hotel, restaurant, all that. That's moving forward as well. I think that's and otherwise, if you have anybody you know that needs any kind of space to expand or anything like that, let us know, please. Or if you know have somebody who wants to locate down here, we can help them either expand or locate their business down here in Norwalk. And I was telling you that our commercial improvement grant as a category for demo. So if that wants to utilize some of the funds to demo their building, we can get them connected for that too. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Anything else in terms of update for us, Luke?
Yeah, just a few things, some upcoming zonings that you guys will see come back from you. Looking at changing the Warrior Run Clubhouse to a commercial zoning, potential user looking at acquiring that. It's currently zoned residential as part of the golf course, which was the residential use. So that'll be coming forward. It goes to council this Thursday, which will then initiate it and send it back to you guys for a coming meeting. Another rezoning will be the lot adjacent to Elizabeth Holland Park between the park and Produce Innovations. That will be coming forward for a rezoning to allow C3 auto dealership uses on that property. So big projects there coming forward. So we're excited about those. Annexation's going well, like I mentioned. The other thing I guess to just hit on City Hall remodel. I don't know if anybody's been included in some of that stuff at our council meetings, but we are doing a somewhat substantial remodel process of City Hall. Council chambers is not going to be touched, so we should still be able to use this throughout the project. If not, we will communicate where we will move meetings to. We got a couple different locations, the library and the public safety building we can use for things. But essentially what we're doing is reworking the current site of City Hall and the entranceway to give us more office space. So Chris and Holly and their staff can have an office again because they've gotten kicked out of the place we were renting. So we're trying to create space to move them back into City Hall. And then the current City Hall administration people, we're going to remodel current community development. That's going to get reconfigured into a new office area. And they're going to all move over there. And then our City Hall administration, like reception area, is going to get consolidated down into one space. So instead of coming to City Hall, paying your water bill at one counter and then coming over to us to pay permits or do zoning, you're just going to come to one counter at City Hall and all of that. Hillary's going to take over coordinating office staff for that. We're doing some rework of all that staff and job duties and stuff. So a lot of exciting things happening in the next 4 months. So I think the project's scheduled to be done mid-December. I think our hope is it'll be done a little bit sooner than that. So we actually don't have a lot of construction that needs to get done. We're mainly just building new walls and dividing up space a little bit. There's a decent amount of demo for the front entryway and changing how that all works. But yep. My office will finally have windows. So if you ever want to come visit me anymore, you're not going to be stuck in a little porthole. I will have windows to the outside world after 10 years. I'm excited about that.
Great, thank you, Luke. Any update for us, Elliot?
Yeah, so got some interesting things coming in the pipeline. We've got a site plan coming forward for the Holland Point area with the apartment buildings. We did the rezoning or a zoning amendment related to that area a few months ago. We now have a site plan that I don't know if it'll make next meeting, but it'll be certainly within the next couple. I got an email during this meeting that somebody wanted to get into the Zoom and couldn't, about this, rezoning that we were talking about. And so I will get with her afterwards and make sure she definitely gets into the council meeting. Stakes are a little bit higher there for the next three, obviously. But, you know, she lives across the street and just has questions mostly about the driveway configuration, which isn't really a rezoning thing. That's kind of just a thing that will be on the site plan, and it's not changing substantially, but I think she just wanted some more clarification on maybe that. And some other stuff. So just wanted to mention that in case she goes and watches the YouTube or something. Didn't want to leave her concerns out entirely. I do want to say two more things about the item that we had tonight. I remember a couple years ago when we did that first infill PUD north of this, and the designers at the time were like, why on earth do we have to put a sidewalk in front of this? It connects to nothing. This is a good example of why you do that and why you fill sidewalk gaps. And, you know, when you're given the opportunity, stop violating the ADA, because anytime you develop property, you gotta put in a sidewalk. It's one of the ADA things that catches you up. And it helps us, you know, provide those connections for people rolling or walking. I would also like to softly reiterate my staff analysis in my staff report. I won't say anything further about it. Basically, I just talked about the challenges of dealing with a site like this in the manner we're doing now versus trying to combine redevelopment parcels and perhaps, you know, the opportunities that those might bring, kind of like what's directly across the street from this, Jimmy John's and Eldorado. So that development exists because some lots were cobbled together similarly to this. And those are valuable things to keep an eye out for. It's difficult, but we try to keep an eye out for it. Don't have an opinion one way or the other. It's just a thing that's out there that I'm thinking of. So that's it. Yes, George.
Just curious, did Hubble get their state grant for that apartment complex?
I have no idea.
Okay, is there gonna change the configuration of it? Is that,
I have not heard.
okay,
They increased unit count by like 2 in each building to make the math work. I don't know for sure though. Initially it was 2 buildings, 42 units each. I think they're 44 now.
but they were gonna go to townhomes with the money.
Yes.
The rentable towns.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the state assistance they were applying for was specifically related to the townhomes.
Yeah.
Which my general understanding of that program was, if you met the qualifications, you'd get assistance. I don't get the impression it was real competitive.
Oh, okay.
I think they just had to check the boxes. I could be wrong on that though. I will try to put a pin in that and ask, next time I'm talking to them.
Yeah, okay, just, yeah, curious.
Else? Great. Our next meeting is August 26th, 2024 at 5:45 PM. At this time, I will entertain a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion?
Sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 6:23 PM. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Howard, for joining us.
Thanks, guys.